Hello students, welcome to my class. Today we will discuss some other questions of the electrolysis chapter. Quite a number of questions are already done, and by now you must have seen my video of the chapter, so must have got idea. But let me discuss some more questions, and I'm sure if you discuss all of this, some of the questions you're definitely going to get from here. So let's straight away begin. The first question mine would be, how can you prove that electrolysis is a redox reaction? How would you explain to it? As we all know, a redox reaction is one where oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously. And here in case of electrolysis, you know that at the cathode, the cations gain electrons to form a neutral atom, and thus reduction takes place. Whereas at the anode, the anions lose electrons to convert or form the neutral atoms. So oxidation takes place. Therefore, we can prove that electrolysis is an example of redox reaction. I have definitely not written down all the answers here because there is no point doing the same thing again. If you have seen my video, the answers are already there. So children, if you prepare the question, as I said, you are definitely going to get quite a few in the exam paper. So keep yourself ready for the board exam, and do like, share and subscribe my channel. And then if I come to the next question, why do solid sodium chloride not allow electricity to pass through? So solid sodium chloride does not allow electricity to pass through. So we can say that the sodium ion and the chloride ion, that is Na plus and Cl minus, they are held together by a very strong electrostatic force of attraction. So there is no mobile ions, and thus they do not conduct electricity. Okay, so why a graphite anode used in the electrolysis of fused lead bromide? Graphite is unaffected by the reactive bromine vapors. So the graphite anode is used for the electrolysis of fused lead bromide. Then my next question would be, silver nitrate solution is a good electrolyte but is not used for electroplating an article with silver. Why is it so? Because silver nitrate deposits silver at a very rapid rate, and the coating is not uniform, so it is never used as an electrolyte for electroplating with silver on any article. Then if we go for the difference question, like electrolytic dissociation and ionization. So remember, electrolytic dissociation is always for ionic compounds and ionization is for covalent compounds. And you all know that the separation of ions in case of ionic compounds, which are ions are already present. But if we go for ionization, where we are taking care of the covalent compounds, the formation of ions from metals which are not in the ionic state takes place. Therefore, it is different from electrolytic dissociation. Then if we go to differentiate metals and electrolyte. So we know that the flow of electrons takes place when we consider electricity in metals, and when we consider flow of electricity in electrolyte, we know that flow of ions takes place. So there is actually no dissociation in case of a metal, but dissociation takes place for an electrolyte. Thus, the chemical nature or the property of a metal is intact, but the chemical nature is not there same for an electrolyte. It gets altered. Moreover, in the case of a metal, electricity passes only in the solid state, but electrolyte, it is not possible in the solid state. It has to be the liquid or the molten state. Then one more is, there is no transfer of matter in case of electricity flowing in the metal, but in electrolyte it happens. There is transfer of matter when we are talking about electrolyte, electricity in an electrolyte. We can talk about more questions like fused lead bromide. If there is electrolysis taking place in a fused lead bromide, then the ionic dissociation would be just PbBr2 giving you Pb2 plus and 2 Br minus. And when we come to the cathode, it is Pb2 plus 2 electron giving you Pb, that is lead. How do you observe? A silvery gray lead metal is deposited at the cathode, whereas at the anode, Br minus releases one electron, combines with another Br and gives you Br2, bromine vapor. So a reddish brown vapor of bromine is observed at the anode. This is how we answer the observation question as well as the chemical equation for the electrolysis for a fused lead bromide. Then if we talk about acidylated water, dissociation will be, acidylated water is always water with sulfuric acid. So H2O will give you H plus and OH minus. Sulfuric acid H2SO4 will give you H plus, that is 2H plus, and SO4 2 minus. Now when we go to cathode, hydrogen is given out, whereas at anode oxygen is released. Both see when it is the dissociation, in both the cases water and sulfuric acid, we get only one kind of cation, so hydrogen is released. But when we talk about anions, there is sulfate ions and hydroxyl ions also. So OH ion is preferred over sulfate because sulfate is lower in the OH is lower in the electrolytic series. So pure water is a non-electrolyte, so dilute H2SO4 is added. Nitric acid is not added because it is volatile in nature and there may be decomposition of nitrate radicals, and that becomes difficult. At anode, the concentration of sulfate ions drift increase, and due to the presence of H plus ion, the concentration of H2SO4 is more at the anode, making it acidic in nature and therefore comparatively less at the cathode. So this is one example of catalytic reaction because H2SO4's mass doesn't change, but without it the electrolysis of water also is not possible. So there are so many questions associated with electrolysis of water. One is the chemical equations where you are giving the electrolytic dissociation, reaction at the cathode and reaction at the anode. There can be a question why, when there are two anions present, why or how oxygen is released at the anode. Then why do you need sulfuric acid with water in the electrolysis of water, and why can't we add nitric acid into it because if it's volatile nature. So and then which part of the electrolyte towards the cathode or the anode, the acidic nature is seen more during the electrolysis of acidylated water. And moreover, how can you prove that the electrolysis of acidylated water is a reaction of is an example of catalytic reaction? So these are some more questions which I had kept ready for you. Otherwise, the reasoning questions, the observation questions, the chemical equation questions which were already discussed with you earlier must have been prepared by you by now. And these questions are, if you have done it properly, one of them or at least three of them are definitely there in the question paper. So children, prepare well for your board exam. It's forthcoming, and do good. All the best. Take care of yourself. Bye children.